All right, good morning, everybody. Sure.
And then you're gonna do thank you.
Yeah, I can do that.
Morning, everybody. Welcome. Great to have you all here. This is our first in-person event in a while. We were at the Des Moines Corporate Games meeting on Tuesday. Then we did the Corridor Corporate Games on Wednesday. Now all of you on Friday and today. And it's the first time we've been together in a few years from the pandemic. So it feels good again, and great to have you all together. This is year 2 of the Quad City Corporate Games, so we're excited, and it's increased in number of companies. How many new companies are here today? Oh, great. Obviously, be beneficial for you. I'm the CEO and Executive Director of the Irish Sports Foundation. Corporate. My name is Chuck Long, and the Corporate Games are one of our 5 pillars. We have a nice foundation of health and wellness and sports and recreation. A little history. We started 7 years ago in Des Moines, going strong there, but really Matt Beatty here is the originator and designer of the program, and just got it up and running in a great way 7 years ago. We expanded to Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, and now year 2 here. And then Kyle, who you've been in contact with, Matt kind of handed over to him, and he's really taken a great way and has grown it. So like any good CEO, I stay out of my staff's way. So I'm gonna wrap up real quick and introduce Kyle, and he'll introduce some people and our charity partner. But again, welcome, and let's have a great day. It'll be very informative. We'll try to get you out at a good time, but enjoy the day. Welcome, everybody. Kyle, what's up?
Thank you, Chuck. Yep, I'm Kyle. I know many of you probably communicate with Sarah. I do more of our Des Moines and Corridor Corporate Games, and let Sarah kind of take full reign on Quad City. So you'll be hearing back and forth between Sarah and I, and then we'll also have our intern Cade this year. That will not be too cold. Cole is moved on, or he's not intern. So Cade is our intern. He's at the University of Dubuque, a thrower there. And then Matt, as Chuck has said, our COO, he's kind of handed off the corporate games to me, but still make sure I stay on track with everything. And then many of you know Cole with the city of Davenport. He's kind of our boots on the ground person. As we're out of Ames, very early drive this morning, but not enough coffee, but we made it. Am I missing anybody?
He'll be up here.
Yeah, Sarah's downstairs directing everybody up here. Thank you to Brooke too. I don't know where you sat, but she helped us kind of secure this meeting space for today. It's not easy, especially coming out of the pandemic, to find a large conference room to be able to present all this stuff. So thank you, Brooke, and the Bettendorf Library. There you are, hidden. So really appreciate that. If this is something that your company would like to host in the future, we do host it at other companies in our other corporate games. So it's very nice to be able to move it around or things like that too. So if it's something you'd like to host, definitely a possibility for future years. I want to bring up Kara. She is the admin for Rock Valley PT. They were division champions last year in the first year of the corporate games. So each year we like to have a company come up and speak just on what works. How do you engage employees and get people to participate, or a cool story or a cool memory, and things like that, that new admins or other admins can be like, oh, hey, we should do that, so some ideas. So Kara, I'll have you come on up and present on Rock Valley Physical Therapy.
Oh, I'm Kara Kurtz. I work for Rock Valley Physical Therapy. I'm actually the wellness manager of a division of Rock Valley Physical Therapy called Rock Valley Health. So we do corporate wellness with other companies, and even companies that are in the corporate games, which is kind of fun. So then we get a few against companies that we also promote health with. So when this came about last year, it was our first time. We actually had a coworker send it to me and Jenny. Jenny's our registered dietitian that kind of co-ran this with me, and we had someone to me and Jenny, we were just like, this just screams everything that we promote as a company anyways. So we were very eager to sign up, and then it was, but how do we let everybody else know about this? And how are we going to get enough people to participate? And how are we going to get busy families to know that this is actually fun and you should add it to your calendar? So as we mentioned, we did win the Division I of Rock Valley. I'm not so sure that I have any like secrets or tricks, but I can kind of tell you what we did. So we first, as soon as we had a meeting and we saw what Corporate Games was about, our team made a video of what of our own version of Corporate Games. So we took different events that are actually in the Corporate Games, and then we did them amongst ourselves. And we sent that out to the company to get everybody excited, like, here are all the events that we can do, and we're going to compete against each other. And being a physical therapy company anyways, we're pretty physical activity is on the forefront with most people anyways, and we are sort of a competitive bunch, which definitely helps. So definitely pulling those competitive people to help be chairs and send out emails or to nudge their neighbor to get involved is always helpful. So we started with that. We made that video and we sent it out to the entire company. And then since it was kind of in the midst of COVID still going on, Rock Valley holds monthly meetings with all staff. So this was a huge advantage for us. So we took a time slot out of that and we kind of introduced the Corporate Games and what all it was going to consist of. So we even got to tell more about it at that time. And then as it kicked off, we sent out weekly emails encouraging people to sign up that these events were coming up. We also sent out weekly emails of individuals that participated along with their photos, kind of their success. So there was just tons of emailing per se is really what we got. What we enjoyed out of it is since we are physical therapy, we have lots of different locations. So we don't necessarily all work side by side with each other every day. So it was really neat to be able to come together with coworkers that you don't necessarily see every day and be able to have a friendly competition amongst other people and get to know each other. So one of my favorite memories from the Corporate Games would have been the very first event. So we had no idea what we were doing and we didn't really have a ton of people on board yet. So it was mostly our Rock Valley Health team was like, well, we got to do bowling because we got to start this out strong. And so our team signed up for bowling and we are not avid bowlers and it definitely showed. But so, I mean, we were getting like 40 was one of our people's like scores. So even if you're not good, it is still tons of fun. Just getting people to participate and come out is really what it's about and seeing that it is so much fun. So this is an opportunity that we got to hang out with each other outside of work and just kind of, you know, visit the bar, hang out, and it wouldn't have necessarily got sketched into our schedule so solid if it wasn't for the Corporate Games. So it is tons of fun. You don't have to be an all-star at every sport. It's just about signing up and then trying your best, and it's fun. You know, laugh with each other, sort of laugh at each other. It's fun.
Awesome.
Thank you all for joining us in this organization.
Thank you, Kara. Just a quick shout out to our event partners. Obviously, the 4 communities, Moline, Bettendorf, Rock Island, and Davenport, and their cities and Parks and Recs department help us secure a lot of facilities. Without that, we wouldn't be able to have some of the events that we do. City of Buffalo, I didn't even know Buffalo existed until they're like, hey, let's have tug of war. So yeah, exactly. So thank you to all of them. It's again, that wouldn't happen without our partners. We do have a charity partner. I'll invite Angie up to speak about the Children's Therapy Center, but a portion of every Quad Cities Corporate Games entry fee is donated to the Children's Therapy Center, and I'll let Angie kind of talk about the use of those funds.
Good morning, everybody. You know, it's so great to walk in here today and see so many familiar faces that are going to support our organization. So thank you for stepping up once again to help our kids. As Kyle said, I'm from the Children's Therapy Center of the Quad Cities. For those of you who don't know us, we are a 73-year-old nonprofit pediatric outpatient rehab facility. It's a lot of words, but basically what it is we provide physical, occupational, speech, and feeding therapy to children with physical disabilities and delays. A lot of the kids we see are born with a disability, such as cerebral palsy, or they're born with Down syndrome. A lot of the kids that we see suffer from catastrophic illness or injury. We partnered, two of our largest referral partners are University of Iowa Family Children's Hospital and St. Francis in Peoria. We see kids that are undergoing cancer treatment. They get out of the hospital after their surgery and they need to come to us for rehab. We also see kids that have been in really bad car accidents or have been, loss of a limb and need therapy to get back. Our goal is to always help each child achieve their highest level of independence. And for kids that differs. We see babies out of the NICU that were born and get tube fed from the beginning. So those infants don't learn the suck, swallow, breathe mechanism that babies do. So once they get off the tubes, then we have to teach them how to swallow, how to use. So we serve kids from all over the Quad Cities and beyond. We have no geographic limitations. We will serve anybody that needs our help. Right now, over 75% of the services we provide are not reimbursed. So fundraising is really important, and events like this allow us to continue helping all kids that come to us regardless of the family's ability to pay. So last year, the funds that were raised from the first event provided about 40 hours of therapy services for our kids. So we rely on events like this and companies and donors just to make sure that we can continue our mission. So I just want to say thank you. There's some information about us on the back table, but really what you guys are doing makes a huge difference in the community. And if it wasn't for events like this and wonderful donors, there'd be a lot of families that wouldn't have. So thanks.
Thank you, Angie. So just a brief agenda for today. We'll go through the community challenges for the corporate games, some sport and event information, our administrator tools that'll help you guys promote information to employees, volunteer component. Matt's going to take us through corporate games manager. At that time, if you're comfortable with corporate games manager from last year, we don't have any changes. So if you're comfortable, that would be a good time. If you need to get to another meeting or back to work or anything like that. And then we'll definitely have time to answer any questions that you have. So first, our community challenge over here is the blood donation challenge. We partner with Impact Life, formerly Mississippi Valley Regional Blood Center. But that's starts May 1 and runs through July 31. That is the only corporate games event that starts in May. That allows people to donate twice during the summer, especially when blood supplies are lower during the summer. And excuse me, that allows you the opportunity to host a blood drive or go to Impact Life to donate. That is separate from the corporate games points. That is its own separate award. So you're not getting points for your company, but each person counts in your tally towards your total for the blood donation challenge. So with that, I'll bring up Teresa, there you are, to speak a little bit more on the blood donation challenge.
So thanks for having us, and thank you everybody for coming in today. And so we are obviously the community blood supplier for a lot of hospitals here locally, so Genesis, Unity, Trinity as well. But we also supply over to 125 hospitals throughout our territory as well. Last year, through the Corporate Games Challenge, we had 311 donations. So our challenge this year is to obviously see that amount this year as well. And so I reached out to the majority of you here today that we want to help partners. Some of you have already signed up and are hosting your own drives, but also partnering to community for our centers as well. So we do have signage at all of our 3 centers, so Davenport, West Davenport, and as well. So we would invite you yourself or your employees to come in and donate on behalf to help those donations as well. Each donation goes on to help serve 3 individuals into our hospitals as well. So each donation is a life-saving product that we definitely encourage and want, and as Kyle noted, during our summertime to do CLE. So definitely this is perfect timing for us to collaborate together and help, raise donations as well throughout our community and help serve as well. So we do have information as well. So if you have questions or anything like that, we're definitely happy to collaborate as well.
And that's one event. It says all donations at company hosted drives count toward your total. So if it's people that don't work for your company, they can still count towards your total in the blood donation challenge. That and volunteering are the two where people not involved in your company can actually not earn points for the company, but in volunteering, they can earn points. We'll touch on that later. So sport and event information. Here's the calendar for this summer. You'll see some divisions do have multiple days listed, like skee ball. You will not, your participants will not have to compete on both days. Just one division will go one day and one the other day. So no sport requires anybody to come for multiple days. Over here, we do have two divisions. Corridor, we have 3, and Des Moines, we have 5. So those calendars are a lot more daunting than this one. So, but you can see it's quite a couple different events a week usually. We try and schedule around the John Deere Classic, Ragbri, the Bix, all those things. So we're not impeding on the great events that the city or the cities do have to offer. And this is available on the admin toolkit on the website. I'll kind of show you what that is later. So on the website, we do have sport and event pages for every event. It's got the date, the time, the location, who's hosting, about how long you can tell your employees they'll need to be there. If they keep winning, they'll use for competitive events, they'll be there longer. But every event is pretty much a 2-hour or less time commitment. There's a few that fall outside of that realm, but not many. It has who is eligible. So some events do allow for friends and family to come. They can't earn points, but they can still come and do the fitness walk or watch 3-on-3 basketball or things like that. But it has who is able to come. And it does have division specific dates. So if your division is on a different date than one of the others, it'll have that as well. So this is our team sports and event. It's got our limits and important dates document also in the admin toolkit on the website. It's got all of our sports. It has the team limits. So how many teams you get, whether it's 1 men's, 1 women's co-ed or 2 open teams, whatever it may be, that is on there. It has the minimum number of people you can need and the maximum you can have for each team. The company deadline date. So if on the website, you can kind of see it's painted a little bit, but it has on there too the deadline date. So about 12 days to 2 weeks before the event in our corporate games manager software, there's a deadline. All we need to know is yes or no. Does your company have a team or 2 teams, depending on the event? But that's what that deadline date is. All we need to know again, yes or no, do you have a team? And that's listed for every event. And then it's typically within 2 days of that deadline, we have the schedule posted. I know, lots of events, teams miss the deadline, but we're definitely very flexible on working around that. We want companies to be able to take advantage of the opportunity. So if you miss the deadline by a day, we're going to tell you can't compete, probably not. So as long as you get in touch with us, we're usually pretty willing to add teams to the bracket. As long as it's not like the night before and we have all the brackets printed already, we're usually pretty good about adding teams, but we just ask, do the best you can on that. Matt's going to show you how to do all that in a little bit for those that don't know or need a refresher. But that is our event limits and important dates document. Employee check-in, it's very nice. It used to be you pretty much had to come up to our table and check in through Excel. It took a while. Now with technology, we have QR codes. So everyone that has a smartphone, you can walk up, scan the QR code. As long as you have an account and agree to the waiver and are logged in, it takes like 4 seconds. So it's super smooth. So we do ask that your employees help speed up the process, have corporate games manager on their phone, have their account made and have logged in. If they don't have an account yet, that's okay. When they come to our check-in table, we'll have staff on site to help with creating their account, getting them checked in. If they don't have a smartphone, all of that. But as some of you used it last year, after the first time, it's very, very smooth, especially if you're participating in multiple events to check in. Volunteers. So a lot of our events wouldn't be possible without the help of volunteers. Basketball shooting, 3-on-3 basketball, a lot of those take help scorekeeping, rebounding, checking people in. So as you can see, we don't have quite the full staff to manage all that. And this is a great way to earn points for your company. So volunteer points are actually worth 50 points a person. A person participating in an event is only worth 25. So this is actually worth double actually participating in an event. If you're trying to compete for the cup, this is a great way to try and maybe be a difference maker and earn those extra points needed to get first place or second place in your company division. But it's not required to volunteer. We have it set up by April 29th in our corporate games manager system. All you need to do is declare yes or no. Does your company want to provide volunteers? With that, you'll be given a set number of required spots. Last year, I think Division 1 was 4 volunteers and Division 2 was 2 volunteers. That's for the entire summer. So it's not a major commitment at all. That's 1 or 2 events, 1 and 2 to 4 people. So it's not much. And then we have open spots that become available each week. So every Monday, our Monday email goes out. It has on what spots are going to open up on Friday at 8 a.m. First person in corporate games manager to claim those, that company gets them. If they're not there, it means somebody already got them. So that's the way that the spots that become available, you can claim those and earn more points. Check our volunteer spots. There's no extensive sport knowledge required or anything like that. It's always, sport check-in, rebounding at 3-on-3 basketball, helping with awards. It's never anything that is super extensive on a sport, and we'll have staff there to assist with volunteers as well. And as I said, this is where family members, friends, people not associated with your company can volunteer and earn points as long as they're 16 years of age and can do the volunteering task. All right, I'll take you through our admin toolkit on the website. F8.
Yeah. Okay. Go to Chrome.
Look at that. I'm way more, what was that, 2 days ago? I've improved.
You're learning.
Awesome. So if you have not been, this is our Quad Cities Corporate Games website. It's got all of the events that we do. This is the all-important leaderboard where you'll see where your division is. This is updated after every event. Usually the night of the event, we have it updated. Sometimes it's 11 p.m. or midnight, but by the time you wake up in the morning, it's usually updated with the previous night's results. But I want to take you through this admin toolkit page. So I wish it was easier to see, but this is where we will post the recording from today and today's PowerPoint. We'll also have our corporate games point system. So this is every sport event that we're offering this summer, how many points can be earned at that event. And then in our competitive events, we also have placing points. So if you place in the top 4, you have the opportunity to earn extra points. But every team that competes does earn points. The only time you lose points in the corporate games is if you declare a team and then the day of the event, they don't show up. It just thinks, bracket wide, is this team going to come? Are they not going to come? Kind of delays the start of things and then kind of messes up the brackets and things like that. So that is one time that you lose points. And then if you declare a volunteer or have a volunteer and your volunteers don't show up, that is the 2 times that you can lose points. Oops, I think I closed out of the wrong one. Sorry, I messed you up. Oh, that was your Gmail, wasn't it? My bad. So here's our corporate games manager for employee instructions. This is going to take your employees through how to create an account, log in, all the features of the corporate games manager that Matt's going to talk about. So I would definitely guide them to there if they're looking for help with corporate games manager. And then this was a good one for you guys to have. It's how to assign sport captains, ask employees questions, manage volunteers, all the how-tos of the corporate games manager. Matt's going to take us through it. I didn't remember it all. It took me like a year to kind of figure out where everything is. I will say that with the games, it does take time to learn and get used to things. So we do recommend companies stick with the games for at least 2 years to try it out, get the kinks and everything, make sure to learn everything and get the word out about the games. So if don't have success in year 1, don't worry. A lot of companies don't see that major success right away, but it does come with time as people learn more and hear more about the games. We also have a video for corporate games manager. It just takes us through that PDF of how to get your account set up and things like that, and for how employees to use Corporate Games Manager. This is that document I was talking about with the deadline dates and the rosters and limits and things like that. The second page, this is new this year. It's sport specific on our co-ed and open rules. So open is any combination of men and women. Co-ed is equal men to women or more women than men. There are some sport specific on there. But again, as long as it's at least equal women to men, you're typically good. I would just make sure to look through those before you go to an event. That way you know your roster is good when you're not asking on the site like, hey, do we have the right number of men and women and all this and that. So that's just make sure you or your sport captains look through that before the event. And then we have our sport event rules. So this is just one-stop shop for all the rules for every event. If you're curious on how many games you play, what the score goes to, how many timeouts you get in basketball, all those things are saved here. And then each sport and event page will have that sport specific set of rules. The calendar is here as well, a full one, and then the division specific ones for your specific division. And the bottom is some promotional materials. We have our Corporate Games flyer and poster. These are, you can download with them and they're customizable. So you can put your logo on there. You can put your company code, which Matt will kind of explain in a little bit. But just lets your employees know that you're in the games and what events are possible that they can participate in. And then we also have sample email for employees. You guys can use this. It's a nice template. You can put your own company name in there, the company code, and this is a nice generic template if you're able to email your employees. Here's my list of stuff to not forget. And then we have folding tents, and then we do have InDesign files as well in our logo, so you can create your own with InDesign, kind of modify them and things like that too. So lots, if you have other stuff too, that would be good recommendations or stuff you use and want to share with us, please share them and we'll get them posted on the website. So other companies, and we won't take credit either. We'll make sure to be, the city of Davenport made this and it's awesome and way better than what we did. So let's see.
PDF again.
Nope. I regressed. I thought I did it. There we go. We're gonna have to go right back to the website in 2 minutes. So communications, like I talked about, each Monday we send out weekly emails. One is our participant email that goes to everybody that has a Corporate Games Manager account. It has results from the past week, current standings, photos, all those types of things, so employees know what's coming up. And then we have one that's admin specific. So just for you guys, that lists what deadlines coming up that week that we need to declare yes or no. Do we have a team? Other sports and other important info that's only important to you guys that we send out. And that goes out each Monday as well. And then every Wednesday on those deadlines, we email through our Outlook, we email out the brackets. Or our intern Kate will do it this year, but you guys will get those, I guess, Thursdays. The deadline's Wednesday. We usually send them Thursday or Friday. But those we also email out each too. So you have the sport specific brackets each week. Our company apparel. So a lot of companies do company t-shirts. We do not do anything. That's all through your company. We highly recommend it though. It's very cool when you're at an event. You can see when everyone's wearing the same shirt. It's awesome for 3-on-3 basketball. But it's cool when you stand out and stuff like that. And it's a great way to get on our marketing materials. If you're all wearing, it's easy to promote, X company on our brochures, our flyers, our websites, things like that. So we do highly recommend it to get company apparel. Great way to show off your company pride too. All right, so I'm gonna have Matt take us through Corporate Games Manager.
All right. Back to the website. Good luck. All right. I'm gonna reopen my Gmail that Kyle shut down for me. Basically, if that's not mine.
Like a bunch of Iowa State special
Yeah,
stuff.
probably. You guys live healthy when he's cleaned up. All right. Yep, that was me signing on here. All right, so if you're an existing admin, you are already in the system, you are already ready to go. You could go in right now and start doing everything you've been doing before. We have the site live and active. But if you're a new admin, you are going to get an invitation email from us after this meeting. We have to do them manually, so I have to do them by hand. And we found, we were talking about this earlier, some of the security with the company sometimes that they're hard to get through. So we hope you get the email. If you don't, just let us know, because we can set up a temporary password, put some information in for your account and get you into it so you get started. So that first time, sometimes a little rough to get going. Once you're in, you're in. It's really easy at that point. But if you do get the email as you're supposed to, I did this setup last night and I did not get the email for 3 hours. I'm not sure why. Normally it's right away. I did it again this morning and it immediately came to me. So you can see what that looks like. Just a basic invitation email to get in. And so it automatically, I know it's a little hard to see here, but it automatically takes you to a spot to set up your account. Brighten your screen file. My eyes are not very good anymore. There we go.
But if you can, ask your IT to whitelist qccorporategames.org. That way they'll get our emails and they'll get the emails from the system. So the earlier to do that, the better.
So we do ask, this is basically what every employee will see to a point. I'll show you exactly what they will see, but this just gives you an idea of what they will see. We ask for some very basic information on here. We only ask for what we need to know for events. We don't ask for anything more than that. Obviously, with privacy concerns, whatnot, we try not to ask too much. So we ask for a first name, last name, date of birth for the age group events, gender for that part for those events, and then obviously set up your own password. For the volunteering piece Kyle was talking about, this is kind of one of the connectors in Corporate Games Manager. People can say if they're interested in volunteering. That helps you further down the road that I'll show. I'm going to say yes, because volunteering sounds awesome for the corporate games. I'm not going to log in as Kyle. It will make you log in immediately right afterwards. So the first thing, even if you're already in the system, everybody will agree to the waiver. Again, this year we do that once a year. So it's just a one-time thing. As Kyle mentioned, if you have an employee that comes to an event and hasn't been to the system, they're going to have to do this one before they participate. Obviously, that's just a liability waiver. We'll make sure everybody's aware of that. Feel free to read it if they would like. Pretty basic, but just a little release of liability. And so once that's done for the season, that's it. That's the one time that they'll have to do that. All right, and so going through the dashboard here a little bit. On the main dashboard piece, you can see we have some corporate games news. This is news that we put up on here that people can click on. It might have links to the calendar, the point system, different things there. The employee instruction manual, they probably won't need that if they made it this far, but it's in there in case they want to go and look, see what all they can do in the system. This news from your company admin, I'll show you that in a little bit, but you can create your own news to put on the dashboard if you want to put some information there for people to see. And then it'll show personally the events that you've signed up for, the volunteer assignments that you are committed to, and I'll go through that a little bit later here. One thing that my dashboard, because I'm an administrator, your general employees over where this view report center for events, they won't see this, but they will see a box that says contact company is what it is. And basically, we found it doesn't happen often, but occasionally someone will have their corporate games manager account and they have no idea who their company administrator is. And so rather than having to email us and ask that question, they can click on that. It'll have a little screen that they can pull up. They can write an email. And when they hit send to company admin, anybody that's in your system as a company administrator, it'll send an email to those people. And so that way they can get a hold of you if they need to. Hopefully they know who you are already, but especially in a bigger company, that's not always the case. So that they have that ability there. For employees on their dashboard, on the left side here with the navigation menu, they will only see the first section here, the dashboard down to the logout button. The company administrator piece, of course, is for you as an admin. So I'll go through that here real quick. My info, pretty self-explanatory, but if someone needs to change their password, if they put in the wrong date of birth, if we set up your account for you and you need to put in your own birthday, we'll let you do that. So they can also adjust if they're interested in the volunteer piece or not. There, signing up for events. Now, when we talk about this, a lot of times we talk about declaring interest, because if it's a team event that has limited participation, when you sign up, they're not automatically included in that event. And I'll get to that here in a little bit, but basically anything that people are interested in, they can sign up for here. And so it's very specific. It shows my age group. Like with golf, it doesn't show the women's team, of course, it just shows the co-ed and men's for me. Same with bowling. So it'll only show the things that I am eligible to participate in. I'm going to sign up for a lot of things. So it also has the dates of those events here. It's got a little bit of information there for people right away. As part of that, there are some of those events that have questions attached to them. And so on, and this is for your use. We touched on it a little bit, the sport captain feature that's in here. Basically, our big thing with corporate games is we don't think one person in a company should manage the whole thing. There's a lot to it, of course, to have one person helping with. And so it's great to be able to delegate that. It can be multiple admins, or if you want people just simply to have access to one sport. I'll show you how to do that here in a second, but here's where people can answer that question. And these are open-ended, so they can put anything in it or put nothing. I'm not going to put anything in here, but say, I sign up for bags and I'm really interested in helping put the teams together. I can put, yes, I'd like to be a sport captain for bags. And you'll be able to see that on your end when I get down to the reports and talk about that a little bit. And so we do that for the relevant sports, things like bowling, we put in there, if you're really competitive and will want to build a competitive team, you might ask people what their average is. I don't have one, so I definitely wouldn't be putting anything in, but you may want to look at that, and that may be helpful when putting teams together. So now I've signed up for some events, and now you can see under your events, everything's there that I signed up for. I can add and remove things as often as I would like until I'm added to a team sport. And then I can no longer remove myself from that sport, because that's something, obviously, as an admin, if you assign someone to a roster, you don't want them removing themselves later without telling anybody, and then nobody shows up. So that's something when I build a team here quick, you'll be able to see that. But a big part of this is under the entered column there, you see pending and then a green check mark. The difference is in a sport like bags, that's where you have to put the team together. It's going to say pending until someone puts me on a team, and then it'll list the team there. Basketball, shooting, blood donation, fitness walk, yoga that I signed up for. Those are all unlimited events. You don't have to do anything on your side as an admin or a sport captain to add people to those events. They're automatically added. So you can see I'm automatically added to those already. Again, like I mentioned, removing is really easy. I'm not interested in that anymore. I see the date. Nope, can't do that. Took myself off. So it no longer shows up on my list, and it won't show up on your side then either. All right, Burst Your Thirst dashboard. We didn't really touch on Burst Your Thirst too much. That's something that probably next week, sometime soon.
I would say closer to May, because it opens like May 9th. But so Live Healthy Iowa, it's run through Live Healthy Iowa. It's a separate website. Matt will show you the link on how to get there. But just declaring interest on this site doesn't actually sign you up for it. So you'll get a list of who's signed up. We will email you a group ID, a subsidy code, and a PDF of how to register the people for that. So that way it's super simple. It is a little different process, but we'll send that out probably late April, early May with instructions on how to do that.
And so this button, basically, we've gotten feedback over time from people. They don't want to have to log in twice, log into the other website. And so as long as your username and password is the same on both sides, this will take you straight over to it. It's not going to do that for me because I'm not logged in on both. And so the nice thing is there's an error screen that comes up that explains what that is and why. And it tells you what you have to do to make that work. And so once you have it on both sides, it'll just pop up another screen, bring up your Live Healthy Iowa dashboard, which is great to be able to record the water intake.
It's a good opportunity for people that don't want to do competitive sports or anything like that. Volunteering is a great way for them to be involved. This can be done right from your desk. So it's if someone's like, oh, I don't do sports, and like Doesn't matter. Like, all you have to do is track your water. It's a great way. Everybody can do it.
And if you don't want to wait for Kyle to send out information on that, we do have information on Berkshires on the site here too that you can certainly check out. While I'm here, the dashboard button is always in that upper right. That'll always take you back to the to your dashboard screen. All right, obviously we have a log out button here. Believe it or not, we didn't when we first started this. Didn't really think about the fact that not everybody has a computer at their desk, or they might be using a shared computer. So we do have a log out screen that's obvious for people to go ahead and log out if you've got people that are using the same device. So the company administrator functions down here. First thing is the event participation. And this is where we talk about our team sports and telling us yes or no, as Kyle mentioned earlier, to having a team for a sport. I'll pick bags specifically because bags does have more than one team per company. And so it throws people off a little bit with that. And so I'm going to say yes. I know I have people who are interested. You can see right there, I've got 7 people in this company that are interested. We have 4 slots. You can see by selecting yes, it put 1 team. This is where there's another step here to making sure that you have more than 1 team signed up if you know you're going to have more than 1 team. And it's on the screen where you can see all of your people that are interested. And this is where I'm going to select that I have 2 teams. So that will show on our end, yes, you're planning to have teams and it's 2 of them. So we'll schedule them both when we do our brackets. That's really important. If you don't do it, if you forget, get a hold of us, we'll help you out. But we try to, capture that early so that we get that right the first time. And this is where you can tell people they're on a team or not. And if it's a multi-team event, this is where you tell them put what team that they're on. I'm going to go ahead and select people for a couple teams. And there is some feedback that the employee will get on this if it did things correctly. Here it is. I have an email. Obviously, it doesn't trust my email. Started doing that this morning. Shows that I've been added to the bags team. I'm on the roster. I'm on team 2. So, and then I can go look at the schedule or look at my my dashboard for information on that. So real quick, I'll go back to the dashboard here. And you can see now, as I was talking about, now I'm entered. Now there's that green check mark and it shows me I'm on team 2. So that does come up. Somebody will come to an event and say, I'm playing bags. So which team are you on? I don't know. I'm on one of our teams. And so it's nice if they know that ahead of time. As we talked about, when we were talking about the roster sheet, we do not need rosters from you. We don't need to know who's on a team. We just need to know that you have a team for the scheduling, because that way you can change it as often as you need to. It happens where something changes for schedule. That person I'm talking about might have just been told yesterday, hey, can you play bags? Yeah, I can play. Okay, what team am I on? I don't know. I don't know what team I'm on. It's nice if it's in here so they can see it. They can see what team that they're on. They know they're on team 2. Hopefully someone else knows that. If they don't, we can help figure it out if we have to. But that's just a specific example of something that could come up there. But again, we don't need to know rosters, and it's for that reason. So you can quickly change them if necessary, as long as the right number of people, the right genders and everything show up. Like for your, say, sand volleyball team, you've got the right number of men and women players that are with your company. They're checked in. Great. That's all we care about. We want you to play. So it gets you in and out pretty quick.
Can't be on both teams either. Only one team.
Yeah, you cannot be on both bags teams. You have to play on one.
In the bags.
So
Show like the in the like where you pick people for the team.
participation. Yeah.
So it is not this one, the next one, or quick bag. Okay. But it is time stamped. If you're ever like, oh, who do we pick to compete? You just want to go off who declared interest first. You can do that, or like Rock Valley or Kara said, you can do an internal competition at your own company, and whoever wins your internal competition gets to do bags in the corporate games. So
Don't mind these time zones. I was not doing this at 1:13 in the morning. It's just UTC time. So it's just pretend it's central time. But yeah, as Kyle said, it is time stamped. You can see when I was setting these up, my examples, I did 3 in 1 minute, 3 in the other minute. All right, one thing I did not mention, when the first admin for your company that signs in this year, whether it's a new or returning company, once you've agreed to the waiver, all of that stuff, you've got your information set up, you will be taking the screen. Just the first admin. If you have 4 admins for your company, whoever's first is going to get this, the rest of you won't. This is just the edit organization screen or manage organization on the menu there. And this is just kind of a chance for you to double check company names, right? We might have made a mistake. One thing that has happened that I've seen in the past is people will see name and they'll put their name in. And so then we'll have company this, Kyle Wagner. And then it's going on the list. And so we try to catch that because then all of a sudden Kyle's name's going to show up on the schedule instead of the company name. So don't change your company name. We've gone in and usually quietly, we just change it back for you guys if you see it. It happens, obviously, just because of what the screen could be confusing if you think you're on your personal screen. So just know that is changeable. If we have it wrong, you'd like it to say something different, change that. And please let us know too then so that we can change it other places. We want to make sure your company is listed properly for sure, how you guys want to be known. And so a couple other important things in here. If you're wondering what division your company is in, it says it right here on the screen, Division 2. The other piece is this company code. This is for when employees sign up for an account that they haven't signed up for yet, a brand new employee or someone new to the system. They will need this code to sign up. We keep it here on purpose. We want to make sure it's a place that's accessible for all the admins. We do have people that'll contact us and ask, what's our company code? We're going to direct you to the screen because we want you to get in there. We want you to see it. We want to make sure you've been in your account and have actually set things up for your employees too. So it's kind of another way for us to do that is what that is. And so that code is always going to be there. That's the code you're going to want to give out. Kyle showed that flyer earlier that you can customize. That's the code that you want to put on the flyer as well. And then the next question, it's going to require you to answer this question for the first admin that gets to this screen. Would you like to provide volunteers? This is what we talked about earlier. When you registered your company, you had a chance to say yes or no. That gave us an idea, but this is where you officially say yes or no. And by this, by clicking yes here, the volunteer button on the left side there will appear. If you click no, that volunteer button won't be there. So you won't have to worry about that at all. But that is a one-time thing. Once you've answered it, it can't be changed. If you made a mistake, preferably you meant to say yes, we'll take care of you. Well, we can get that changed. Also here, they've already got some pre-filled in. This is an opportunity for you to ask questions of your employees. As I mentioned earlier, we only ask for very basic information. We'll have companies that ask for a t-shirt size. Maybe you're doing a cotton option or a dry fit option. You want to know that. Cell phone number for employees if you don't have that. This is a place you can ask questions that'll then show up on reports for you as well. We allow up to 10. I don't think I've seen any more than 4 at once, but we give plenty of options there. What that'll do, and I'm going to go ahead and save that. When I get back to this dashboard, you can now see it's a required question, but it's not a required question. This is how it's required. It's going to constantly show on your employee's dashboard until they actually answer that question. And so when I click on that, it's going to take me back to my account, to my info screen. And now at the bottom, there's that question. And so they are open-ended. So, you might get a little bit of different variation, the answers there, but now I have my answer in there and now people can see the admins can see what size shirt I need. Oh, and part of that too, that's another reason we want you to get in there to that screen first when you're getting set up for the summer. That way you can try to capture that information right there because if it's already on the screen for people when they're set up their account, then it's right there. All right, next screen here would be the managed captains. This is a sport captain feature we're talking about. Admins obviously have all the information on the left. We have some companies that'll use the admin function as a sport captain, maybe divvy it out among 4 or 5 people and then give them different sports. And then if you're an admin, you don't need to be a sport captain to run anything. You already have all the permissions as it is. But if you don't want to give permissions for everything, you just want someone to have maybe specifically bags or 3-on-3 basketball, you can do that here. And so I'm going to select myself as an admin. You can see I only have a couple of my employees in here. These are the only 2 that have actually agreed to the waiver for the year. We know, especially as time goes on, you've been in the corporate games a while, you're going to wind up with a big list of employees in the system. And we don't want to show you 300 people if 150 of them are no longer with the company. So this is going to show the people who are active in the system. So you won't be able to right away today probably set up captains, but as people get in the system and get their waiver agreed to, they're going to show up on this list. Oops, I should actually do something with that. I'm going to select myself and then select some events. All right, so I'm going to make myself captain for the bags tournament, and golf. The women's team doesn't make a lot of sense because I'm not on that team. So go ahead. So now you can see I've got another menu here. This is what the sport captains will see. Obviously, like I mentioned, I don't need those permissions. I'm an admin in the system, but I just wanted you to be able to see what that looks like. So now they can go in, manage rosters. The one thing they cannot do, they cannot tell us yes or no to teams. That has to be an admin to do that. The reason for that is just communication. We want to make sure that it's clear. You know, we don't want people putting in teams, they don't show up, and then we give penalty points because the sport captain and the admin weren't communicating with each other. So we limit that to the admins only, but everything else, as a sport captain, I can go in here and I can add or remove people. I can say 1 or 2 teams. So I have full control of the rosters essentially at that point. And again, it's just a nice way to be able to kind of delegate some of that information or some of that responsibility off. And that is another thing that you get feedback on. I don't have that email now, but they will get an email that says that. I'm going to delete myself as a sport captain, and same thing, they'll get an email that says they've been removed. All right, so the volunteer feature here, you can select some preferences for some sports if you're interested in doing that. You don't have to, but we found over time too, especially as you've been in the games a while, it's like we really like going and sitting at the cycling ride, you know, and checking people in. I know I have people want to do that, so I'm going to sign up for that. This is when you hit save down here, this will lock it all in place. You don't have to select all 5. You can just select 1 or nothing if you want to. But once that is saved, it is locked. You can't change that. We can if you made a mistake. We've done it ourselves before, made a mistake and that had to go back and fix it. So we can change something if you need that changed. But again, that is time stamped. So say I did that right now and said bowling, and most likely, you know, because nobody else has done it, I'm probably going to get assigned bowling. You know, that's we try to make it kind of fair for everybody to have different opportunities. But obviously, if it's a tie, we're going to go by who signed up first in a lot of cases there. But if you select 5, not that you're going to need to get 5, but you wouldn't likely get all 5 anyway, because other companies probably have some interest too. And so we want to be fair, as I mentioned. Kyle mentioned earlier, we will have some open assignments that come up. Obviously, I don't have anything assigned to this company right now, but here's an example of what an open assignment will look like. It shows up here and you know you want to claim it for your company. Pretty simple. There you go. And so now it's claimed and now it shows up under my assignments. And as Kyle mentioned, if there's nothing showing up under open, then there are no open assignments available. Somebody's already claimed it. So now I do have an assignment for our company. And so the next part is assigning people to that assignment. There's a couple different things you can do. I had to put do not claim. I mentioned to someone earlier because of our Des Moines corporate games have a very overzealous company admin is a friend of mine who stole it from me one time when I was trying to set this up. So don't claim it, anybody else. So you can see here, like who's assigned right now. We don't have anybody. Earlier, when I set up my account, I said yes to volunteering. These are all the people in the company that said yes. And so this is a helpful way to see who's interested. Obviously, you might have communication with them beforehand, but you'll be able to see them on this list. I'm going to select myself. I will also get an email for that to say I've now been assigned to this event, the location, the time, the date, everything will be in there. If you want to assign a non-employee to it, we have an option for that too. You can put their name in, and then you can put an email address for them as well if you want. That's not required, but we do have that in there. This is helpful for us too, because then we can see you've had both of them filled on your side, because we'll look at that ahead of time, just some ideas. If you have a volunteer assignment that you cannot fill, try to give us some time. We'll work with you on that. We don't want to give out penalty points for that, but we want to make sure we got our spots filled if we can. So it might be something that we open back up, and if someone's like, we'll take it, and that makes it easy for us to make sure it gets filled. So real quick, I'm going to jump back to my dashboard. I can see now that I've been assigned a volunteer spot, and again, it shows all the information there. Mentioned you'll get an email. The employee gets an email, so it's all some good feedback there for them. All right, the manage employee screen. This is where you can see all the employees that have an account in Corporate Games Manager. You can edit things for them if necessary. We do have the ability, if they forgot their own password, to get an email for that, but you can go in, change that for them, change some information if necessary, add their t-shirt size. That's all in there. Events, you can, and we know we have some companies like this, you have people that don't sit at a computer all day, obviously. They may not use a computer on a regular basis. You have the ability to add events for people or remove them from events. And so if you go into this setup with the events button there, I'm going to click add event. And so now you can see these are all for this particular employee. This is everything that he's eligible for in here. And so you can go through the list. If you want to quickly add them on for a certain sport, make sure they show up on the list for the roster. That's a good way to do that. And then the other option here is you can remove employees from your company. This doesn't remove them from the system, but it does kind of just put them in purgatory. They have an account, they're not tied to a company. If they log in, I've seen this on my end when we've been testing things. If I wasn't hooked up to a company, it just doesn't let you do anything. It won't show my name. It won't show when you hit sign up for events, there's nothing available for them. It just leaves them out. And so that could be helpful if you have someone who's no longer with the company and maybe has gotten and started to add themselves to events. I don't know why, but you just never know. And so that's a good way you can remove them and then they simply disappear from the list. So they'll still have an account. If for some reason they need to be activated again, we can help with that. But that just removes them from the company there. And going down to the news here, as I mentioned, you can create your own news and put it on there. You can see I had that test news already set up. Very easy to work with. It can be just text. If you have some ability to do HTML or want to format it, you have some options there. And then this one's already published. If I want to unpublish that, just uncheck it and it's gone. So that's simple. If I want to publish it again or publish another one, we have some that we'll have in the background ready to go as the summer goes on, and we'll just go in and publish them as we go. And so those can change quickly. If you have some things you're organized ahead of time on some things and you want to put information out, you can have it all set up ahead and just quickly add it in as you need to. And then finally, reports. I'm not going to open up all these reports and show you can play around with them if you'd like, but I'll explain them a little bit as to what they do. The two top reports on the left and right there are participants by users, and they both are slightly different. One says summary, the other says detail. The summary is a great way to quickly grab everybody's in the company that has an account and see if you want to see what they're signed up for or just want to grab their information. It's all right there. They'll all show up on one line each. If I'm signed up for 10 sports in one cell, it's an Excel sheet on the side of it. It'll show all 10 of them in one line. So it's not really useful for sorting for those sports, but that's where the detail one comes in. It's the same report, except for now I show up in 10 rows, and for every sport I'm signed up for, or every event I'm signed up for. And so that's something you can pull and sort if you need to, grab everything. It also has a couple different levels. And I didn't talk much about categories. That's just a way for us to group something that's an age group event into one spot if you want to just pull all the basketball shooting rather than all the different age groups. But you could easily just pull one sport if you want to. Personally, I like to pull everything at once, and then I can organize it so you can leave these blank and just export and it'll pull the list for you. Volunteer reports. This will give you a list of all the people that said yes that are interested in volunteering. Again, this is a great way if you need to email or reach out to people. You'll have this Excel report and you can just copy and paste those email addresses that way really quick and reach out to the whole group. Event questions report. This has to do with like the sport captain questions that were asked on the events. They'll give you the answers to that. I'll leave the check-in report for last there. Company question, that is where I added in the t-shirt size. Now you can pull a report that'll have the answers for that. And then the volunteer assignment, that'll show you any volunteer spots that you've been assigned to your company or claimed. And if you have people assigned to those spots, it'll show those too. So you can kind of get a quick look at that if you want to. So just a few different options for reports. It'll give you kind of a quick look on the back end of things and be able to pull things, copy and paste, whatnot for your own use. The check-in report, that is nice too. That is because the check-in system's all tied in with the website, that's live. So if we have an event going on right now and people are checking in, I can keep pulling that report and keep changing. Essentially, it'll show you the information for the person, and I think it'll have a timestamp on there, so you'll have when they checked in. And so that's helpful if you say want to pull your own attendance report for events. If you have something, say with your health insurance, where these events kind of give a credit back with that, you can pull these things to see who's actually participated. This is another one of those. It's kind of a multi-level report. So you can pull it by event, or you can pull the entire thing at once. And we actually recommend that at the end of the year. pulling that entire thing and just saving the file, because then you've got a ready-made list for the next year of everybody who signed up for events. Everybody's actually not even just signed up, actually participated, because they have to check in to participate. And so now you've got an easy list to kind of promote right away out to people, say, hey, go in, get set up on your, for your events this year. And then the one last thing I will do is, I'll log out of this, and I'm going to show you when an employee signs up for a new account. Very simple. Again, we only ask for basic information. The email address is their username. If someone types in their email address wrong, we'll probably have a new account. We have had that before, and then they don't get our emails or anything there. So that username can't be changed once it's locked in. First name, last name, gender, date of birth, and then the company code, as we talked about earlier. So it's going to, you start typing it in, it's going to set up as, you see, kind of hard to see, but it's a red box around there. And until you put in a code that's actually a valid code, it's not the, oh wait, you see, put in the right. So once you put in the proper company code, it will give you some feedback. It tells you the name of the company, it turns green. It's a silly little thing, but it is important, because if you give people the option of a drop-down menu, you'd be surprised at how many people sign in for their own company. And then I mentioned purgatory. That's kind of where they wind up again, because we have to go find them and see what company they're in. And they'll have a lot of different information, than your company. So you want to make sure they get into the right company. So that code is important. The nice thing is it's hard to do a typo with it. If it's if I put in the wrong letter, then it's not going to let me do anything. All right. Any questions on Corporate Games Manager? If you don't now, that's okay. There's a lot of information there. As Kyle mentioned, we do have that, the admin manual. Everything I went over, if we're to load, is in this manual.
We have to have our employees. And I know you need to have that in so they can check in and stuff. I'm just thinking, unfortunately, I can get some of the staff to reply to an email. So I'm wondering, making that all the stuff. But, forget it, I just want to,
Sure.
this is our first year to get as many participants as I can.
Exactly. Yep. You wouldn't be the first one to have that happen. Say the fitness walk, just show up, guys, just show up. Get them there. If they don't have an account, we're going to set up one there with them. It's going to take a couple minutes. So they just have to be patient, but in order to check in, you have to have the account, and we can do that right there then. So we've had that. I'm going to say every event throughout the year, even the very last event, we're still getting some people. They were like, I was told to show up. I'm not sure what's going on.
So if they're interested, if I have somebody's like, yep, I want to do the bags tournament, and I have somebody that's already logged on there, I can just enter them in and submit it.
Yep. Yeah, you can go in, you can add bags. And again, that's for your use. Really, it's not for ours. As long as you said you have a team, that's all that we care. But that it is helpful then, because then you've got that spot filled and you don't have to keep notes somewhere else. But yeah, here's the admin manual. Again, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, of course, here, but it has some basic information in here for you. It has screenshots. Obviously, this is telling you everything that we talked about, the different menu things, what they do. And so here's where it's got screenshots for every detail on here. And so we've tried to be thorough with it. If you've got a quick question, you want a quick answer, go here first. Obviously, we're always willing to help, but there's only a couple of us, so we might not get back to you right away with this. So this is kind of a real easy way for you to go. Links, I guess or not. But everything is kind of listed here on little things on how to ask employee questions, as I mentioned, or creating and editing news. So it's all listed there. Any other questions on that?
You consider their marketing material, do you guys have a promo video?
I think we made, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's saved in Dropbox.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we have a Dropbox folder here that has some InDesign files. And if we don't, we could certainly put in there, because we have one we've done for social media and whatnot. So I'm kind of curious myself. It's actually in there or not.
Probably in the marketing folder, but I can move it over.
Yeah, we can easily drop that in. But that'd be a good one too. No. Fighting me. Yeah, no, yeah, that's fighting me. Trying to go back to the screen.
I have one more question, sorry.
Yeah. Sure.
Does it save the information from last year so that I can go in and like, we're trying?
Data from last year and cleared it for this year, so I can email that to you. But just you want to shoot me an email or Sarah an email and we'll send it to you.
You may have it internally.
Sure.
Okay,
Yep.
awesome, thank you.
Yeah, we have to clear them out in the system, but we keep a copy. Just in case.
Yeah, good questions. Other questions?
I'm gonna run up, I'm gonna bring up the other screen here quick.
You want to go to the sponsors tab?
Oh, the tab, sure.
Yeah. We had it, or I didn't highlight it. So we do have sponsorship opportunities available. Visit Quad Cities, there are medal sponsors, you'll see them on the medal. But we have lots of great sponsors that help us be able to do the things that we do. So you're interested, there's different levels of sponsorship, whether it's an executive sponsor or a sport and event sponsor, or blood donation challenge sponsor. Just talk to Chuck and he'll get you set up with kind of the options we have available. If you are interested, you can email us and we'll get that conversation started. Thank you. Yeah, my turn again. Awesome. So Kara touched on some strategy success that worked for them. These are a lot of repeats, but communications, like I said, whitelist, get your company, or get our domain whitelisted so they can receive the company, the emails from us. And if you guys have the opportunity to email employees, even if it's a small group, if they can go in and just click a Google Forms and you can get their emails and send smaller emails. But the more communication that you guys can send out, the better. Delegation, don't try and take it all on by yourself. Delegate those other admins, sport captains. Use that report from last year, like who did 3-on-3 basketball? Sweet. Which one of you want to be the sport captain this year? You know, those types of things. Finding your company's strengths, whether it's certain events, team events, individual events. Winning's awesome, but it's also not the most important piece of the games, especially to us. The opportunity to network and promote your business. You know, the leaderboard is like a walking sponsorship billboard. You know, you get your name out there if you're wearing company shirts. So when you go to those events, meet new people, you know, that you might not have either with your company or with another company. Make friends, someone that you can go play pickleball or disc golf with on the weekends, things like that, and maybe lead to some new business opportunities. So just tell your employees, don't just show up and play spike ball or whatever, go have fun and make the most of it. And then always ask questions. Sarah, myself, Matt, Cole, whoever, always ask if it's, you know, hey, is this the right roster for this weekend on, you know, men's, women's wise, or how do I do this in corporate games manager again? Just always ask. We're always happy to help. We know it's not, it takes time to learn. In a year, especially, you'll be an expert and won't need us anymore. But again, always happy to help with any questions. And with that, questions, we're happy to take any that you have. So any additional questions outside of corporate games manager or anything like that?
You guys do a great job of sharing everything on social media, so I would recommend that companies follow on social media, and then you can copy and share, and it's just great to go.
Yeah, we tried, so if you have social media, we try and have a document saved. So when we're at an event, we can be like, we can and tag all the companies. That way your companies can share it, but the more sharing you can do of that. We do upload all of our pictures. It's usually the next day of an event, but we try and get every picture that we take from the night before or the day before, whatever, on social media as well, so you guys can have those. But yeah, make sure to follow us, and I think we follow most if you have them, but if we don't, we will. Other questions?
So I always said that, you know, once you click yes or no for the volunteering, it's agreed. But is is our first year, I was not going to try to tackle doing both. But, as we go on, you know, if I have people that want to volunteer, is that an option?
You know, we could definitely do that. You wouldn't get any of the required spots, but we could certainly just open it up, and then if you see spots, I'm gonna take it. So, yeah. Our goal is to get them filled, obviously, and at the same time, it's nice when you get more points too. So we have some companies that have been really good at getting points to the volunteer side. They're like, yep, we'll take anything that comes open. And so we, before we had that claim it feature, I would send out an email saying, hey, we have some spots that we need to fill, and 40 emails later, I'd finally say the first one was the one that got them. I have to tell everybody no. So
Stop emailing.
yeah, so it's definitely, it was when we started doing the volunteer piece, a lot more popular than we thought it would be, which is awesome.
Yeah, you'll get more people to film than you think. That's a great way for people to participate and earn those points.
You see some that come out all the time. They just want to volunteer. They like being involved. It gets them involved in the company. They have no interest in competing whatsoever, and they like to go out and talk to people. So
Lisa, we have Des Moines admin. I think she was at more events than I was last year, just because she volunteered at every single event.
if she wasn't signed up, she'd show up and come help.
And again, that's a great difference, could be a difference maker in points. Our Division 5 last year, one of our smallest companies had like over 50 volunteers for the entire summer, and they won their company division by less than 500 points. So that was the difference maker in them being first or second. So it's only required wise 2 to 4 spots typically. So you'll fill it. To me, most companies fill it with absolutely no problems. Good question.
But I was wondering, last year I was in admin, and we kind of used that initial checklist of like, it has like interest form, and then I kind of had trouble tracking people down, like, when we got closer to that. Would you suggest use that as more?
It's hard. So the hard thing is some people declare interest on April 20th, and then the event is until July 20th, and they're like, oh wait, I have an event that day. So I get that piece is hard. Just following up, maybe 2 weeks before, like, hey, are you still interested in this event? You signed up, can you go? I know that might be a little bit additional work, but also
We're utilizing those reports a little bit too, just kind of as things come up. We like to say our emails, we're not babysitting, but we're handholding a little bit with people. Because every week we'll put out that email that says, here's the deadlines that are coming up. So that's always a good time too, to maybe look at that list, say 300 basketball and refresh, say, I'm going to pull that list quick. I'm going to email people and say, hey, are you guys still able to do this or not? Most of the time you're going to hopefully get an answer at that point real quick, and they'll know if they're able to do it or not. But that's kind of a good way to kind of utilize some of the stuff that we're sending out to trigger what you need to do next too, and push on that. And if you, go ahead. No, go ahead, sir.
You can also set a calendar reminder to print this address. So here's how you select interest in that. Here's a calendar invite for that are aware of that.
another question. Yep.
So I know we'll be emailing admin the weekly, how often are you gonna be like emailing our employees? Just like, give them like a heads up, like, hey, you've been emailing.
Yeah, so it's every Monday. It only goes to the people that have an account in Corporate Games Manager and have agreed to the waiver for the year.
I think that's right. Yeah, because we're pulling the active list every time is what we're doing. We'll pull last year's list to start. It's kind of how we start that way, that way they're getting them. We won't send anything out for a few weeks. We've had some people ask about getting things in emails like, well, we go dark for a little bit on purpose because we want to give you guys a chance to get information out. I know not everybody's going to go out this afternoon and you got other things to do. So maybe in a few weeks, maybe towards the end of April will be our first email just saying, hey, Corporate Games this summer, here's what's coming up. And then after that, yeah, the weekly email, as people get added into the system, we pull a list probably like on Friday or something like that. And then they'll get on the next time, essentially.
Do not unsubscribe, please.
But people do that. The way the rules work, we can't put you back in. You have to do it yourself. So some extra steps.
Good questions. What else? Well, thank you all for coming today, taking on the admin duties. We know it's additional, work on your plate. So we do thank you for that. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. Thank you.
Take someone.